Welcome back. We have the Orange County Sheriff's Department here today, and we have Captain Ross Cowett, and he is going to talk a little bit about some of the things that are involved with Homeland Security, as well as a variety of other divisions that you are responsible for, which, man, you have a big job.
I do. Yeah, it's busy.
Yes, definitely busy. And tell me a little bit about the divisions that, well, first of all, tell me how long you've been with the division and how things have been going in the Sheriff's Department.
Well, I've only been a part of this division, working in this division on and off for 6 years, but as the division commander since January 4th of this year, so not quite a year.
Okay.
Right,
okay.
but I've worked within the division, and then I moved here as the commander.
Okay, all right.
Or division commander.
The division commander, okay, great.
Yeah.
And now, I understand now Homeland Security Division was developed in 2008, but there were a variety of other divisions that are underneath that to help with some sort of national disaster that we might have here. Tell me a little bit about how it all works.
Yeah, sure. So just for clarification, Homeland Security Division, but then there's bureaus under it, and I have 5 bureaus.
Okay.
And I have a lieutenant who runs each one of those bureaus.
All right.
Okay, so we have the OCTA, so we cover the buses, right, transport. Okay. We have the Harbor Patrol, cover the 40 miles of coast of California. We have three different stations there. We have Sunset Beach, Newport Beach, and Dana Point Harbor Patrol. And then we have our Air Support Bureau. So they actually do search and rescue and patrol operations support for, you know, high-speed chases or whatever, to have the helicopter there to help, or if we're doing a building search or whatever, a lot of patrol support there. We have our Mutual Aid Bureau, which is pretty extensive. So our Mutual Aid Bureau will help out on assisting OCFA with fires or any kind of natural disaster. We have a responsibility as mutual aid to all the other agencies in the county.
Okay.
And then sometimes there's an agreement to work outside of the county in that. But included in that bureau, we also have our reserve unit, and we have our explorers, and we have our mounted unit.
Oh, wow, okay.
Right, and then we have our Special Enforcement Bureau, which would be our SWAT team, our Tactical Apprehension Team, K-9s, and our hostage negotiation team, all within that bureau.
That is an awful lot to
keeps
have.
me busy. Sure.
I would imagine.
My phone's ringing.
Yeah, all the time, all the time. So let's go back to the first one you mentioned, the harbor. So they patrol strictly an area of the ocean and the shores. So what are some of the things that they would be looking for?
Well, we vessel assist vessels that are maybe broken down, you know, outside the harbor, that are out there fishing, or on, you know, pleasure craft that are broken down. We assist with that. Fire, there's a lot of boat fires, you know, unfortunately. Also, and then maybe DUI boat.
Oh, yeah.
You know, might have people driving boats under the influence. Our harbors are pretty busy on the weekend, and we're here in Southern California. It's beautiful year-round, right?
Yeah.
So they're pretty busy.
But they have nothing to do with, I guess, how far out do they actually go?
So that's a great question. We work very closely with the Coast Guard and the Department of Homeland Security.
I see.
Right, and so we'll go out. We can go out several miles, but there is a point where if something happens, it's the responsibility of the Coast Guard or the Department of Homeland Security. But we actually work grant programs very closely with the Department of Homeland Security, working with maybe illegal aliens that are coming up, you know, via vessels or whatnot. So.
Okay, and then let's talk about the SWAT portion. Is that called the Special Enforcement Bureau?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so that is the picture that has what is he considered, a deputy, or that's hanging out of the helicopter?
Hanging out of the helicopter? That doesn't happen very often.
Oh, I know, but I like the picture nonetheless.
It's a great picture. So we have our full-time SWAT guys that are sitting in our office. We have four deputies and a supervisor.
Okay.
But we have 43 people on our SWAT team that would be their ancillary duty. So they're working in other areas of the department.
Okay.
But if we have a SWAT call-out, they get deployed to that SWAT call-out.
Okay. And then are they considered deputies? Or not?
Yeah.
Oh, it's the same. Okay, I wasn't sure. All right. Yeah. So you said this doesn't happen very often, but how does it? At what point do you actually need air support in a situation? We
would use them all the time. They have the infrared cameras where we can get heat sensors to see where our suspects are hiding, or where they're sitting in a house. If we had a barricaded suspect, and maybe that's the only person in the house, we can actually get a heat sensor of where they're at. They assist a lot. And the video footage. We can do a video downlink from our helicopter that will feed to our SWAT command post, so that we can get real-time footage of an aerial view of our situation. It's great.
Okay, and then let's talk about your canine unit, because you know, I've been seeing a lot of posts about the dogs and maybe older dogs, and they're celebrating the dogs. You know, there's a lot going on. So what's happening in your canine unit right now?
We have 9 full-time canine unit or dogs, and they age out just like we do, right? And get sick. Yeah. So there's a turnover there. There's a lot of support. People love dogs, right? So we had a lot of support from our advisory council, Sheriff's Advisory Council, who help support our canines and make sure we have everything we need there.
Right.
Yeah, the canines are fantastic at operation support. So we have them fully covered through the week, all parts of the week, for patrol support as well. And so anything a SWAT team would go to, a barricaded subject where our canine would respond to.
They do too. Okay.
Or if we have an officer that's in a foot pursuit, or we're looking for somebody, the canines are fantastic.
Yeah.
And we treat them like one of us.
Right.
And they do a lot of work for us.
Who trains them?
Well, we get them somewhat trained, and then we train every Wednesday. Our canines train every Wednesday all day.
Is that with their owner?
With their owner, with their handler. Yeah.
A handler. Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
That's a lot. Every Wednesday.
Every Wednesday we train our canines.
Is it in English, or is it in a different language?
Both. English and probably German.
German, right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've never been a canine handler.
Right. Well, my daughter has a dog, and they're taking him out to Riverside, I guess, every week, and he's learning all the commands, but they're all in German.
Right.
So I thought that was kind of interesting. All right. So one last thing. Talk about the Mass Transit Bureau. How do you guys protect transportation?
So we have patrol officers. We have a contract with OCTA, and we have patrol officers. That unit has, I think we're up to 25 personnel or so, and we patrol all the bus stations and the right-of-ways, all the tracks where there's accessibility by pedestrians, etc., trying to make sure people aren't trespassing, so that we have, something happen with a train first pedestrian or whatever. So we spend a lot of time. We spend times on buses sometimes in an undercover capacity.
Gotcha.
And we work our trains and our train stations as well.
Okay.
So we work very closely with OCTA. We have good communications with them, and just protecting people in transport.
Nice to know.
So,
nice to know that you guys are there, and we don't even know you're there.
Right.
That's a good thing. And then if there was a natural disaster, everybody becomes first responders in your divisions. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's a great question, because we spend a lot of time preparing for that.
Okay.
We have trainings regularly. I'll give you an example. So we have what we call a mobile field force and a sheriff's response team, an SRT team we call it.
Okay.
And we are constantly training those groups. They come from all over the department. So maybe my division right now, we're at about 153 full-time employees in my division, but we have a force multiplier throughout the department if we have a disaster, that we train on a regular basis, so that we can mobilize a force to civil unrest, maybe during election, or maybe there's a fire and we need to do evacuations and assist. We'll bring out a mobile field force to assist in evacuations with OCFA, who we work very closely with.
Okay.
So.
Excellent. Well, Chris, thank you so much for all the
my
information. I know
pleasure.
we only had a few minutes, so hopefully,
Sure, my pleasure.
Over the course of the next few months, we'll have some of your other folks come on, maybe some of the lieutenants.
All right.
All right. Thank you.
All right. Thanks.
And remember that OCSD is out there, whether you know it or not, to protect us. So give them a high five next time you see them. We'll be right back.
Hello.